Welcome back. Today we're going to continue our series on rhythm. This is one of three. First video was about the elemental aspects of music and rhythm. Second video was just introducing how to interpret rhythm and how to practice them. So this is the third video, and this is really much more for piano players, because we're going to talk about how to manage playing two different rhythms with your two different hands. And actually in piano, it's not just two different rhythms. Like Bach's 4-part fugue has like 4 parts of music going, like 4 melodies going. So at different points, a piano player is trying to pay attention to the different rhythmic groove that happens on these 4 different voices, which is very difficult, right? We can only audiate, that's a word. Audiate means you are singing in your mind. We can only audiate one melody at a time. But because our instrument is polyphonic, which means that we actually end up playing a lot more than one melody at a time, that we have to develop a mechanism to not only play them, but to listen to them so that we can play musically. So this is just the beginning of that, okay? This really still applies to beginner piano players. And if you're not, you're still welcome to stay here, stick around, and see if there's something that you can gain from this video. In my video about sight reading, I talk about how piano music, you have to read both horizontal as well as vertical, like at the same time. When you're reading piano music, just being linear is not enough. And I think that's why reading piano music is difficult for many people. You have to do the linear thing, and you have to do like multiple linears too. But also you have to read the vertical information. And in fact, you actually have to like read a lot more of music in order for you to actually play. So in a way, you can say that piano music is like tapestry, right? You have the threads, and you have to have all the threads. But also, you have to keep the picture in mind. And that applies to rhythm too. There is the linear thing, okay? And that's when we like practice hands separately. But there's a vertical thing where we still have to like perform together at times. So that's just just to help you understand the challenges of piano. You know, online people talk about how you can just like learn to play the piano like 3 times faster. I don't even know what that means. Or, oh, you can do like 2 years worth of piano in 3 months. I don't even know what that means. They don't actually have any meaning, right? Because like, what is that? So don't get bogged down with these ideas. I want you to know that learning to play the piano takes time, because it's one of the most complex things you will do as a human being. Because scientifically, it's proven that piano is one of the few things that uses the full brain activity, both sides. You know, it's not like, oh yeah, it's music, so it's right side. It's not like that. It's the whole thing. You're listening, you're looking, you're feeling, you're judging, you are expressing. All of these things are not easy if you're just doing one thing at a time, but you have to combine all of them into all your 10 fingers. But we don't even say that is 10 fingers. We say that is 25 fingers because every finger has different coordination with different fingers. Okay, so that's just my little spiel, because I want you to feel encouraged. I want you to understand, if you have challenges, why you feel challenged, okay? Before we jump into the rhythm patterns, please subscribe if you have not subscribed to my channel yet. And also please check out my course, Simple and Beautiful Piano for Adult Beginners. I made another PDF download for you to use for your exercise. So you can download that right now, stop the video, and then bring it and practice with me, or you can watch the whole video and download it and watch the video again and practice with me, or practice on your own. Let's go to the page, Rhythm Patterns Challenge. You see that there are two rows of notes. Top, okay, I'll color code it. The upper one and the lower one. And this is because this is how piano music is written. The upper notes are the right hand notes. The lower notes are the left hand notes. In Rhythm 102, I showed you how to perform rhythm while counting out loud. And that's what we have to do for piano music, because we can't, vocalize two different rhythms at the same time. So we're going to use our hands, right hand for the upper rhythm and left hand for the lower rhythm. We are going to start with time signature 4/4, also known as common time. And I talked about this in Rhythm 102 as well. That means we're going to continuously count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I advise you to write down the counting 1, 2, 3, 4 in between the right hand and left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the whole challenge. We have a different time signature. We're going to talk about it when we get there. But I'm going to start with A. And having the numbers there will help me to say the counting right. Okay. So A is like this. I'm going to start with one measure. Lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. B is like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. C. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So C is slightly more challenging because in this third measure, the pattern changes quite drastically from what we had before. D. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. E. Now we have a different time signature. 3 on top, 4 on the bottom. That means we're going to count groups of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that. And you can write it down. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then you see, if you look at the lower, the left hand, it's dotted half note, which is 3 beats long. Okay. So I'm going to give one measure of lead in. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. F. Again, 3, 4. Okay. So remember that 4, the 4 on the bottom just means that quarter notes are 1 beat. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's Rhythm Patterns Challenge 1. Now we're going to go to Rhythm Patterns Challenge 2. All of a sudden, we have eighth notes. Okay. So that becomes harder. So in Rhythm 102, I talked about we count by the shortest duration note. We call this subdivision. So we have eighth notes. That means we're going to start counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And I will write it here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now you might be wondering why when we have quarters we still do 1N, because we don't want you to count 1, 2, and 3, 4N, because that's not steady beat. 1, 2, and 3, 4N, right? So we want to continuously keep that steady beat, which I call heartbeat. We don't want to have, what is it when you have a heart that skips or something? We don't want to have that in our music. Sometimes you might do it purposefully to shock, but usually we just keep a steady heartbeat, okay? So A, I'm going to demonstrate A. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'm going to demonstrate B. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You might get tired of counting out loud. If that is you, you can also use the metronome. And we have metronomes that will count for you, which what I'm gonna use. The metronome I use is called Pro Metronome on the iPad. You can also use it on iPhone for sure. I'm not sure if it's available on Android. Okay. We don't use the metronome of olden days anymore, although I have one right here, just so my students know what they used to look like. Kind of fun, right? Yeah, I bought it on eBay. And it didn't come with the weight, so I had to get the weight, and it's not the right one, but we just at least know what it looks like. So, little segue, but we're gonna go back to this metronome. In metronome beat, when you put 60, that's exactly same as the second hand of a clock. We kind of have an idea of how fast that is, right? So I'm gonna go just a little bit fast, like 72. That's my quarter note beat, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to change my tone. In this, it's number 13.
2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so I'm going to use that. And this metronome allows me to pick subdivision. So it's going to count for me.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2.
Okay, so now we're going to do C.
1 and
2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and
2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1.
Remember from our second video on rhythm that when you have dotted rhythm and you have this syncopated note, that's the note that happens on the upbeat or off the beat, you really have to feel the downbeat. Let me demonstrate what it means. You have to go 1, 2, and if you don't get that 2, if you don't feel it, you're not gonna get this next note correctly. Okay? Okay, D. I will demonstrate
2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and
3 and 4 and
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1.
That's it. Now, E. It's 3, 4 again. Okay, so we're gonna count 1 and 2 and 3 and I'll actually count this time. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and. By the way, do you see how all of them have this thing at the end, 2 lines with 2 dots? That's called a repeat sign. So I do want you to repeat it at least once. If you can do even more, with the repetition, that's just gonna solidify your practice and understanding of rhythm. Let's do F. And I'll use the, okay, so I'm gonna change my metronome time signature to 3/4, and it's gonna count 3 for me.
1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and.
That's it. Do you see this little thing here that I just circled? Those are called eighth note rests. We haven't talked about rests. If you're learning to play the piano, I would just encourage you to do these exercises until they just feel really comfortable for you. And there's gonna be at least one, maybe 2 more videos on rhythm. And we're gonna be using all the exercises that I've given you in 102 and 103 to actually, well, it's gonna be a surprise. We're gonna use it, okay? So I want you to practice it, okay? So when we do this thing in the next video, you're gonna be all ready. Thank you for joining me again. I hope this is helpful. Please leave me a comment about your experience or what else you're looking to work on. And I will see you in my next video. Please take care until then.